What's up, everyone? How's it going? Welcome to this week's pre-week analysis. It's the pre-week analysis for the first week of December, so time has flown by pretty quickly. November has been a pretty decent month for us. It's been the month that we came back, realistically, right? The Let me check. Hold on. I think it's the entire month of November that, not November, entire month of September. Hold on, hold on. I think it's the entire month of September that yeah, it was the entire month of September that I didn't really trade. And October was an easing back in month, now that I'm looking at my calendar. Yeah, October was that easing back in month, but September we took no trade. We started on first week of October we took 3 trades. Next week we took 2 trades. Next week we took 0 trades. And after that we took 3 trades. So October was more of the easing in month, and on November we took essentially trades every single week except for Thanksgiving, the week of Thanksgiving, because different things are processing during that week, and I'm letting you guys know that through I had it open on this monitor. I just removed it. But I mean, with that being said, let's get started with our pre-market pre-week analysis for this week, and I'm very excited because we're gonna start integrating volume, more more institutional analysis to these things compared to simply technical analysis. Because on a real note, we can probably complete our technicals within 5-10 minutes unless we're talking through it, right? Because we're only going to mark out the things that are important to us. So hold on. Why did I remove that? Did I add something? Yeah, I don't even. I mean, I do use a brush. Uh, I can remove the vertical. I already set that much. Horizontal line. There we go. Alright, so just marking out these lows just to figure out which lows we're taking and all of that. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's take a step back and just look at the financial economic state of the world right now. And yes, that's what I forgot who said it, but someone said it. So next week, what we got? Monday we have the ISM manufacturing PMI. Nothing too crazy. We'll probably just take an interval during this PMI. Other than that, we should be calm. Tuesday, we don't have much, just some economic optimism stuff. Nothing crazy. Basically, no news Tuesday. Wednesday, we have ADP, NFP, and ISM services PMI. Thursday, we have unemployment claims, which I'm gonna guess Friday we have NFP, employment change, unemployment. Yep. So I mean, Wednesday through Friday, it is pretty filled with news, but it should be manageable to trade. Of course, on Thursday we have IBPMI, just interval, and UOM, again interval. So for most of the week, interval shall be sufficient. I mean, it's honestly for every trading week. Just during the news, we don't trade. So honestly, we're just keeping a track of what is coming in terms of these releases. But honestly, I'm starting to shift my view into not even looking about these news, right? Because what are we doing now? We're just looking at if we should trade on those days or not, or what should we do on those days if the interval is needed and all that. And all that takes approximately like 30 seconds if I go through it quickly, right? It doesn't take long at all. The real alpha that we can gain though is using the releases, right? Using their forecasts, using their previous, and using their actual releases when they come out to provide to create different hypotheses as to where the market may go next, right? And that's why these news events are important to us. Before, I just thought it was simple place where we shouldn't trade. But now I'm starting to use it as more of alpha, using it to build context onto my trades, and sometimes even using it as the base of my trades. Of course, I'm not news trading, potentially just finding an imbalance fill from those news fills, simply depending on what we see based on volume, big trades, all that, right? So there's that. But what I want to go ahead and do is now start our technical analysis and see if there's any plans that we can create simply from technical analysis or TA. So let's start. Let's go ahead and do this. Shouldn't take us too long. I'm gonna just speed through. I don't even have to talk to it, right? Making highs there. We have a lot of highs you can mark out. Realistically, the chances that any of these highs will be significant are kind of, they're not precise, is what I'm trying to say, right? We have a zone here, 4 hour. There we go, 4 hour, we have that, and now we're coming back up here, we have this one right here, of course. And I mean, we did, hold on, let me see on lower time frame later, but what the market looks like right now, right? Just simply in terms of price action, what have we done? We've broken structure towards the upside, we're defending that upside potential, and now we're continuing towards the upside. But what we saw started this week was big market movement downwards, and that's literally today's Sunday, right? We started seeing this big drop, right? So I want to see if this big drop holds or if it gets bought up. If it gets bought up, if it if it gets bought up, I think we can definitely head up to these higher liquidity levels, potentially take some of them out and continue towards these all-time highs. Of course, I'm going to continue to be bullish, and majority of my days are going to be bullish, especially in a market like ours. Right now, it's more in the mixed bullish stage, which means that with all the tariff stuff, and that was a long time back. That was very long back now. I didn't think about it. It felt like yesterday. But with all those tariff news and everything, right? We saw price going up overall, but what we were seeing were like these huge retracements simply because of Trump tariff news and stuff. And we've been seeing it recently as well due to various different things, but we're just getting more of a mixed daily market, but on the higher term or going up. And because of that, on the intraday, more moves are likely going to be towards the upside as well. But that's purely looking on the quantitative side of things, simply using probabilities. But just looking at price action, we've broken structure towards the upside. We've held it once. Now we've broken this micro level. Like there's zero volume there, so it doesn't really matter. Where there was volume over here, I want to see if price will be able to break that. If they break it, potentially shorts could come in. If not, these buys should be pretty easy and head at least to these highs to the zone region. And if they can get past there, the all-time highs will be the next target and will likely be broken through. But that's just what I'm seeing. This that low volume issue broke, and you'll see this on the volume profile too, right? If I simply just mark out these two ranges, that's not the best example, is it? Nah, hold on. Let me do this. There's a selling action. Looks like we are accumulating selling delta at that region, right? Look, we have a little bit of selling, but as we continue moving forward, we see that selling delta start to actually increase right before that drop. So I guess this selling delta is a signal that these sells will come through, because these buys weren't very strong despite potential seller absorption, or in this case it was accumulation. Yeah, let's keep moving. I can mark all of these levels. I'm just marking as much as I can. None of it will matter in a minute. And honestly, I don't even have to mark below this region, right? realistically, this is last Friday. Unless we start heading down there middle of the week, then I'll start marking down levels below. But for right now, this is more than sufficient, right? I don't want to overmark. I'm just gonna see what's there for more context. We took out these lows, right? It's got these significant lows. Significant buying action occurred because look, previously that was a very important buy value area. You can see this simply by how the candle was structured, right? Look at it. Big aggressive selling close candle, right? And that was on the end of the week. Next week, coming on Sunday, we had a big gap up due to all these buyers accumulating at very nice, attractive value prices, right? Like we've been trading at 6,800 to 6,700, 6,800 region, right? And suddenly, within the span of literally 1 to 2 days, we've dumped all the way down to 6,500. And if you take a look at the percentage amount on that, we've dropped 4% in one. No, we've literally dropped 4% in a day. 4% in a day when the returns per year is averaged out at 10%. A drop of nearly half is insane. Provides a very nice buying opportunity. So it made sense why we quickly rebalanced. Then we saw selling pressure again. Took out these lows. Saw buying pressure again. And now when these value areas came back into, what did we see? We saw the exact same phenomenon happen where prices start to head up. Honestly, unless you have significant economic shifts, like say for example, Nvidia does not beat their earnings, Nvidia starts to do absolute crap, and the entire tech sector starts to die off, AI cannot progress anymore. That would make sense for price to actually continue going to the downside, where investors and big institutions, big money, does not find value entries down here. Rather, they short the market because that's what fundamentals are telling you. Of course, for us long-term investors, it might be a good idea to get entries there and continue DCA on the way down. But for these institution hedge funds, they're trading actively, they might want to short it. For us intraday traders, it wouldn't really matter. We just have to keep that in mind that we may have to shift from a predominantly long ecosystem to potentially a predominantly mixed or short ecosystem. So again, something to keep in mind. But now, given this, I'm just going to go ahead and mark out a quick volume profile of this current upwards range, right? Right after that sell, so right here. What do we see? We see that our volume profile is showing that there's multiple high volume nodes, right? High volume node here, 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 and here. But what that's telling me is that we are generating volume up here, right? Say this volume was very low, then it would make sense that price wouldn't want to stay there. But we're generating volume at this region, fair delta within this region, and we're still within that region as well. So I believe that, like, honestly, it depends on how we break out this range, right? And this liquidity is a good approximation of that, right? But once again, it's not exact, right? This would be more exact. And yeah, hold on. I'm gonna just mark out precise locations that an imbalance might be visualized, right? So how it looks now is that, hold on, let me go before that. Yeah, I mean the upside couldn't be considered as fake. It cannot. So I mean what it looks like is just that we're trading within this fair volume range, right? And price likes to transact a lot when we're in that fair volume, fair value range. Both parties think that it's a good idea to either buy or sell. They're in unison, they're getting their orders filled, and they're getting a lot of orders filled, and as hedge funds institutions, they need these areas of high volume to actually get this order filled. So we're in that high volume node. We're likely going to transact here, but instead of break through this liquidity and continue heading downwards, it will be this black line right above it. That would be a much more precise approximation, right? Of course, all of these are approximations, but I can bet you that this approximation will most likely, not all the time, most likely be more successful with our hypothesis than this liquidity level. But then again, it's showing that our liquidity levels are confirming different ideas, right? So there's that. Like here, this liquidity level, right? This lower liquidity level right here, it's pretty accurate at that lower cutoff of that volume. And this is pretty accurate at that upper volume cutoff, right? So they're good approximations. Sometimes they're very good approximations. Volume profile just gets you a tad bit more information, if that makes sense. But this is not an educational video. I try to implement my education within my daily recaps and pre-weeks and all my videos, but let's focus on what's at hand pre-week. What that's telling me essentially for the upcoming week is that depending on how we break out, right? If we break out towards the upside, highly likely we're going to head up there. If not, if we break out down here where that low volume region was, then break and retest, hopefully we head down to this region or wherever we start to generate volume next. But simply based on the trend and with the trend following mindset, I'm going to prefer those longs. And that's going to be my preferable outcome. One more thing I'm going to do is simply mark out the volume profile like such up to this level. And as you see there, the volume seems to be pretty normally distributed, right? It doesn't matter though. We're just looking at high volume. And we do see high volume around this region, but that was for the last week where that volume was generated. We do have volume essentially everywhere. There's no significant areas of low volume, right? Now, if you extend it, we might start to see those low volume regions. It's pretty uniform as well. See, there we start to see low volume. Like, I would consider low volume regions as at least like 1.5 times less than these big volume nodes, right? These would be considered high volume nodes. These would be considered low volume nodes. You can see that through the value area highlighting as well. This is like translucent. This is solid. So there's that as well. So essentially, I'm gonna kind of dumb it down a bit and simplify it down, but honestly, I think we're going to continue heading higher. Probably going to look for some longs. I'll open up the session volume profile as well, just to see what's going on. Mark out, see how the value areas are working. Let's go on the 1 hour. Probably would be better. So target the day above the value area. We headed up. Started the day in the volume area. No trades. Started the day in the volume. No trades. Let me see if I can do something like this. Hold on. And no trades. Limit no trades. Limit no trades. Out of it, you take logs. Would have failed. Okay, scratch that. I'm just doing some mental backtesting real quick on some different strategies. So, I mean, yeah, honestly, don't want to overcomplicate it too much. We saw volume up here, but Alright, hold on. Just marking out my preferred outcomes real quick. These are my preferable outcomes. 3 different things I think can happen. I'm preferring that this purple thing happens, but I'm prepared if this happens. This gray region would be the only place where I would be least prepared, simply because I'm not expecting us to consolidate within this tight range for too long. Maybe Monday, maybe Tuesday, but with all the news that we have this week, we should definitely consider one side or the other. But it's going to be important to comprehend the news that gets released as well. I am going to go ahead and go on a higher time frame here, 1 hour, and see where absorption in different ideas are occurring. That's crazy. 1 hour barely has data. Alright, we gotta go on the 4 hour. Um, nothing crazy there. Volume is distributed pretty normally. Seeing heavy buying down to within this lower region though, so showing seller absorption there. So this region does make sense. That liquidity area. I don't know what I do. On the daily, I'm just analyzing volume profile real quick to. Yo, daily chart barely has nothing. I don't think you can go to the previous week, I'm not gonna lie. That's crazy. Since when was that? I swear I've always been able to have a big look back period, but I don't know. First time I've encountered that. Uh-huh. Oh, I think it's only for that chart, because I see it here. Yeah. Cool. I'm gonna do so, see if there's any buying delta. Perfect. This zone right here, pretty significantly confirmed by this buying delta. Up here as well, the upper level seems to be pretty significant by all this buying absorption that we're seeing. I'm actually marked that out. 933 to essentially the highs. Oh my god, I'm not trying to do it. ABS absorption. Call it ABS. That's a good absorption zone we saw there. Let's see if there's anything on the downside. Oh yeah, that's right. Oh my. Decent selling belts there. Nothing crazy. 1124 candle. There's a good area. That's valid. What is that? 1126. What? Not wait. What? How is that the? I'm tripping. 27. And this just cluttered the 27th. 26. Okay, makes sense. Yeah, I mean that makes sense. It would make sense for price to head down. Probably until that region. Which is 9.5. No, wait. 6795. That's for this is interesting. Fine, that's I mean this changes things a bit because now I can see that if price does want to head down, it potentially could head down to this region right here. It's low 6-700s, right? So in this high volume node essentially. Right here. But again, that's hypothesis, right? That was within our idea as well, right? That if price does go down, where is it going to head down to? This high volume node, which is quite literally in that zone perfectly. So I mean, I guess it lines up in that sense. Just something else to look forward to or look into soon. But yeah, I mean, I now feel like I'm definitely prepared for what's to come, and we'll be seeing what we can do in this upcoming week. So we didn't really look over NQ. Actually, you know what? Let's just quickly look over NQ, right? We're not gonna mark anything. How this simple volume profile should do the job, right? Same thing. We're seeing volume near these highs, lower volume down there. We could head down towards that volume, but hold on. But we could also where's the all-time high? We could also head higher to where these zones are, where that volume is there. So I mean, our hypotheses are not invalidated by what we're seeing on NQ. But let's just go ahead and look on the VIX as well. Not even going to remove any of these levels, right? Because these levels are going to continue to be important. Let me just remove the ones above though. Look at that. I mean, looking at the VIX, this is an area of potential. Hold on. The entire region, basically. We are in good value area, right? Volatility is. We're going down. Volatility is going down, and that's a bullish. But that being said, we're at the top of where we go down, is essentially what I'm trying to say. Alright, I mean, of course you can head below this. But as you can see, since literally June, or hold on, when was the last time we broke it? We haven't broken this zone since last year, December. I mean, seasonality effects may occur, so that may mean we do continue heading up, break this region, and in the start of the year we see something like that, similar to what we saw last year. That's just something we might see. I don't know if we'll see it, why we'll see it, all that. That is something we will see, but right now we're at this area where price may want to start reversing, start heading short again, which means in the volume, in the VIX will go upwards. So yes, thank you, go downwards. But here it looks like we do still have room to head lower. If we break this level, that's going to be even more significant. So let me just mark that out. So as you can see, a lot of these areas hovered around that region, went much lower. So not really worried in that sense, but up or down, depending on what happens from that breakout we were talking about, that's how we can base our. So with that being said, that's all I have here for today. If you have, actually, hold on. Let me see how market actually opened today. Midday. I mean, we didn't really do any crazy gapping action, so I think it's too crazy. We did start to see big sell, yeah. I mean, not really seeing much, but yeah. I'm gonna end the video here. If you have any questions, please leave a comment down below or join the completely free Discord server. The link is in the description down below. Additionally, if you want to check out the order flow tools, which I'm using Addis and Bookmap live streams as well, those will be linked in the description down below as well. Both of them have lots of free accessibility, so I definitely want to recommend you guys to check it out. And yeah, but as always, do your own research, and I guess I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow evening for the market analysis section or segment if I take any trades. So I'm excited to see you guys there. Goodbye. Wake up,